This is a watershed. A watershed is an area of land where all of the water that is under it or drains off of it goes to the same place. A watershed has both permeable and impermeable layers. In this model, the rocks represent a permeable layer because water can pass through them. The pink Play-Doh represents an impermeable layer because water does not pass through it. Surface water is water that collects on the surface of the ground or on the top layer of a body of water, such as a lake. Groundwater is water found underground between spaces in soil, sand, and rock. Groundwater provides drinking water for over half of the United States. Porosity is the quality of being porous or having holes. Liquids pass through porous materials. The more porous an object is, the quicker a liquid will pass through. Water passes through the rocks quickly because they have several large holes. It takes longer to pass through the sand because sand has smaller holes and is less porous. Point source pollution is pollution from one area that you can identify. In other words, you can point to the source of where the pollution is coming from. In our model, the red building is letting poisonous gas into the lake, which is represented by us dropping green food coloring into our water. Here are a few examples of point source pollution. Non-point source pollution, unlike point source pollution, generally results from land runoff, precipitation, deposition, or drainage. The term non-point source means that the pollution comes from an undisclosed location or from several locations. In our model, the red powder represents non-point source pollution. This comes from urban and rural areas. When there is a rainstorm, the pollution and runoff will seep through the ground into the water and polluting the air.
Delicious.
If you look closely, in some places you can see the pollution already starting to happen. Some of the water has turned red and seeped through the ground, which contaminates the groundwater and drinking water.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back over there. Okay.
Here are some examples of non-point source pollution. Water flow is a flow or flowing of water, or the amount of water flowing per unit of time. In our model, the water from the lake is seeping into the groundwater between the rocks underneath the land and also down into the sand. As you can see, both the point source pollution and non-point pollution have already started to spread. If this were to continue, the lake would be contaminated with both point source pollution from the factory and runoff from the urban and rural areas. If the pollution were to continue, it would damage the ecosystems and habitats of many animals and human beings surrounding the lake. In conclusion, a watershed is a very important part of our lives. We need to keep it clean and free of pollution so those around us can live healthy, safer lives.